This is where economics gets to be really fun. This lesson uses supply and demand to predict market prices and changes in market price and quantity traded. It answers the question raised in the trailer for the course. Why do gasoline prices typically increase and fuel oil prices typically decrease as summer approaches? The lesson shows how to use supply and demand to make predictions about when the price of a good and its quantity traded change and the direction of the changes. A good understanding of supply and demand is not a crystal ball, but it does help us predict changes in market outcomes and make sense of the outcomes that we observe. You might care because being able to explain and anticipate changes in prices and quantities traded can make you a better customer, or consumer I should say, employee, and entrepreneur. We have 7 main points. 1, a market is in equilibrium when the quantity traded equals the quantity supplied. An analyst can use supply and demand to determine or identify the equilibrium price and quantity by finding the intersection of the supply and demand curves. Number 3, what happens when price is less than the equilibrium price? Price tends to increase when it is less than the equilibrium price. 4, what happens when price is greater than the equilibrium price? Price tends to decrease when it is greater than the equilibrium price. We're going to develop a simple 7-step procedure to follow that will let you predict how an event affects the equilibrium price and quantity. We're going to show you how you can infer what happened to demand and supply by observing changes in prices and quantity. And finally, we're going to talk about what happens if both supply and demand change. If 2 curve shifts, you can predict either price or quantity, but not the other. The successful student will be able to do 3 things after the lesson. First, identify when shortages and surpluses exist and predict what happens to the market price when shortages or surpluses do exist. You should be able to determine the equilibrium price and quantity, and you should be able to show how changes in supply and demand affect price and quantity traded in markets.